I don't want us to have it. I'm going to do very, very quickly.
The truck was actually coming from Ring Road. It missed a step. So as it was trying to gather itself, it fell.
What we are witnessing these days, it is something we can no longer understand.
They should stop telling us and promising us all those promises are fake, giving us details of promises are fake. We don't want it anymore.
Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on BeeTv News Updates at 3. I am Lee Waitman Joanna. In a bid to completely eradicate secret court activities in Edo State, a bill seeking to amend the secret court and similar activities prohibition law 2025 scaled through its second reading at the Edo State House of Assembly on Tuesday. BeeTv News State correspondent Osaroge Osawebo reports that the lawmakers unanimously welcomed the amendment, stressing that its essence is to target the sponsors and financiers of cultism.
At the second reading for a bill for a law to amend the secret court and similar activities prohibition law 2025 during Tuesday plenary session, lawmakers commended Governor Okpebholo for his firm stance on eradicating cultism in Edo State. They noted that the essence of the amendment is not only to strengthen the law against cultism, but also to shift focus from just prosecuting court members to targeting the sponsors of such activities. The bill successfully scaled through its second reading and was referred to the Committee on Security.
Mr. Speaker, this is the business of the day, because for all of us to function well in this state, we need to get this out of our system. You can see, first of all, I have to thank His Excellency Senator Monde Okpebholo for being firm on this issue, because without security, there is no development anywhere. Mr. Speaker, I and my constituency stand against this cultism. We stand against backwardness in this state.
So the essence of this amendment, Mr. Speaker, is to see that areas that are not properly taken care of in that bill that recently passed, in that law that recently passed, is carefully grounded now. The law is trying to really look at this amendment, is trying to look at the sponsor of these activities.
Mr. Speaker, I want to speak briefly in support of this bill. In doing that, I want to re-echo the words of the Deputy Speaker earlier stated that it is impossible for meaningful development to take place anywhere in an atmosphere of insecurity. Mr. Speaker, I must commend His Excellency the Governor, just like the member representing Esanotis 2 just said, for sustaining the temple. This fight against cultism is one that His Excellency and the Edo State House of Assembly must collaborate together to win.
In this case, His Excellency Senator Monde Okpebholo, since he came, he has sustained the fact there is a determination, which is what is needed to stamp out these ills from the community. And as a house, and on behalf of my constituency, and as a woman, a mother, in solidarity with all women in Edo State, we are wholeheartedly supporting His Excellency and this bill.
In another development, a bill for a law to repeal the Edo State Sanitation and Pollution Management Law 2023 and to enact a law to provide for sanitation, pollution and waste management law in Edo State and for connected purposes 2025 scaled through its second reading on the floor of the House and was subsequently referred to the Committee on Environment. Lawmakers stated that the bill is aimed at restoring complete cleanliness and order across the state. The Speaker of the House, Right Honorable Blessing Agbobako, expressed concern over the practice of deseating drainages without the immediate evacuation of refuse, noting that the refuse often finds its way back into the drains when it rains. He therefore called on the Ministry of Environment and the Edo State Waste Management Board to take note.
So, Mr. Speaker, I will say this is a bill that every member of the House should embrace because cleanliness is life. And there are people up to today, they kill rabbits in their house in this Benin city because their compound is not clean. Even in this GRO, there are some people that kill snakes inside their house. It's because of this same issue we are saying. So, Mr. Speaker, I am joining my colleagues that have spoken about this to make sure that this bill is passed.
Mr. Speaker, today, if it's really, for instance, people carry all their debt from their house and put them into the gutters. These debts are taken by the floods and taken to different places. At the end of the day, the restores. You see everywhere litter. The essence of this law, Mr. Speaker, this bill, Mr. Speaker, is to ensure that we have a good data of all the houses in those states. People will have a means of disposing their refuse. And at the end of the day, we will not have a situation where we dump our refuse anywhere.
To go. So when this law being passed, those areas have to be looked into. Then the issue of the safety. For some time now, I've observed that when you spend money to deseat the drainage, the damage to the drainage will be there for weeks. By the time the rain falls, it will wash them into. And what is being paid for that deseating? It's like a penny wise, pound foolish. If your agreement that this second reading should be adopted by this House, please say aye. Those against say aye.
Meanwhile, a bill for a law to repeal the Edo State Private Health Facility Prohibition Law 1984 provide for the regulation of healthcare facilities, related services in the state, and establish the Healthcare Regulation and Monitoring Agency, EDOAMA, and other matters connected therewith, which was listed for second reading, was deferred to a later date. Osarogie Agwebo reporting for BeeTv News.
The Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, His Excellency, has approved the nomination of Dr. Jerry Uwangwe, Honorable Barrister Kenneth Okoruwa Iyeseke, Barrister Osembo Paul Ehige, and Akigbe Osi John Sunday as Commissioner Designates for Edo State. This was contained in a statement released by the Secretary to the State Government, Barrister Musa Ihilo. BeeTv News Best Orator has details.
Dr. Jerry Uwangwe is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of J&G Engineering and Construction Services Limited, with over 2 decades of experience in engineering, procurement, construction, operations, and maintenance services in the oil, gas, and power sectors. He is renowned for driving business growth, spearheading innovative fabrication projects, and improving operational efficiency. Dr. Uwangwe is a Fellow of the Chartered Institute of Information and Strategic Management, recipient of the African Leadership Excellence Award, and ambassador of the African Union Agenda for outstanding achievements in business and local content development. Next is Honorable Barrister Kenneth Okoruwa Iyeseke, PhD. Barrister Iyeseke is a seasoned lawyer, politician, and public administrator with a rich history of service to Edo State. He has served as Minority Leader of Edo State House of Assembly between 1999 to 2003. Commissioner for Youth and Sports, 2003 to 2005, Commissioner for Energy and Water Resources, 2005 to 2007, Commissioner for Agriculture and Natural Resources, 2007 to 2008, Special Advisor on Project Monitoring, 2013 to 2014, Deputy Chief of Staff to the Governor, 2015, and Principal Private Secretary to the APC National Chairman, 2018 to 2020. He holds a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy, Masters in Political Science, and a PhD in International Relations from the University of Benin. Next is Barrister Usembo Paul Ehigie. Barrister Usembo Paul Ehigie is a highly skilled legal practitioner and knowledge management professional with more than 20 years of cross-section experience. He has served as General Manager, Regulatory Compliance at the FGRO Energy Services, where he developed compliance frameworks and risk mitigation strategies, and as Senior Legislative Aide to the National Assembly, providing research and drafting support for over 20 bills and motions. He is principal partner of Paul Usembo & Co., a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators UK, and a respected figure in governance, integrity reform, and public finance management. Ahigbe Osi John Sunday is the last on the list. He is a respected technocrat and community development advocate. He has been actively involved in initiatives promoting youth empowerment, entrepreneurship, and civic participation in governance. He is recognized for his commitment to public service and grassroots development, consistently working to strengthen community engagement and socio-economic growth. The nominations of the above-listed individuals will be forwarded to the Edo State House of Assembly for consideration and confirmation. Best Orator reporting for BeeTv News.
The Lagos State Police Command has appointed a new Public Relations Officer, Superintendent of Police Abimbola Adebisi, has assumed the role succeeding Chief Superintendent of Police Benjamin Oden, who served as the command's inaugural PRO. The Deputy Police Public Relations Officer, Baba Sheyi Olusheyi, in a statement said she assumed duty following her appointment by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun. SP Adebisi holds a PA in English Language and Literature from Taisharin University of Education, Ogun State, a postgraduate diploma in Peace Studies and Conflict Resolution, and a Masters of Arts and English Language from the National Open University of Nigeria, among other qualifications. The Director General of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications, Fred Ogwenebis, has called on the Nigeria Labour Congress to adopt a dialogue-based approach with the government to address the alleged ambiguities in the official dress code for civil servants. In a statement, Mr. Ogwenebisi asked to avoid confrontation, stressing that peaceful dialogue remains the best approach. He commended workers for their roles in Delta State progress and their harmonious relationship with Governor Sheriff Obeveru. Since May 2023, the DG of the State Bureau of Orientation and Communications appealed to the NLC to sustain dialogue, emphasizing that the dress code does not dictate the cost of fabric quality, but encourages proper and decent dressing. He maintained that the policies aimed at upholding discipline and professionalism in the appearance of civil servants during official duties. He also highlighted the governor's commitment to workers' welfare, noting that he declared promotion, arrest, and paid outstanding pensions in the states. The Niger State government has announced plans to allocate a 2 billion naira seed fund to establish a cooperative bank aimed at supporting smallholder farmers. Governor Umaru Bago revealed this during the flag-off ceremony of a farm input distribution initiative by the federal government.
Financing remains one of the biggest barriers for smallholder farmers in Nigeria. Without access to affordable credits, many of them struggle to buy improved seeds, fertilizers, and equipment, keeping productivity low despite producing the bulk of the nation's food. Even when credit is available, interest rates are sometimes as high as 20 to 30% in commercial banks, making it unsustainable for farmers to borrow. Vice President Kashim Shettima recently directed the Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit to expedite action on the disbursement of the federal government's 250 billion naira credit support for smallholder farmers at the single-digit interest rate.
Initially, we used to have cooperative banks in Nigeria. Now we are thinking of a model of cooperative bank in terms of microfinance cooperative banks, where the state government will give a seed capital to these banks to take off, and all the cooperatives will be part of this bank, cooperative bank, so that farmers can have access, in cooperative, not individually. Cooperatives will come and access funds, go to farm, sell, make profit, pay the loans back, and also use their profit to do their lifestyle, and another set of farmers will come and take, so that we can, reduce the burden of loan and interest rate on bankers, on farmers. Very, very important.
The Niger State government says it is now working on plans to set up a cooperative bank that will provide interest-free loans to farmer cooperatives to further improve Africa.
And this is to promote the all-year-round farming policy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu towards ensuring that our food security is guaranteed, but also bringing in a new era of food sovereignty, where we are able to produce what we are consuming and consuming what we are producing.
Meanwhile, the federal government has flagged off the free distribution of farm inputs to boost agricultural production. Farmers Cooperative received improved seedlings and mechanized farming inputs. Evelyn Isibili reporting for BeeTv News.
The Akwa Ibom State government has declared two medical doctors, Dr. Udwa Habasi, a consultant radiologist, and Dr. Nubasi, a consultant hematologist, wanted for allegedly abandoning their duty post after receiving 8 years of training funded by the state. Both staff of the State Ministry of Health, according to the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Emmanuel Ekem John, the government has given them two clear options: either return to their duty post in the state civil service or reform all resources spent on their training. Dr. John stressed that the moving forward medical officers sponsored by the government must serve out their agreed number of years in Akwa Ibom State before considering resignation. The Nigeria Customs Service acknowledges receipt of the directive from the Federal Ministry of Finance. With just days to the end of the state of emergency in Rivers State, Administrator Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas, retired, has called for collective action to safeguard peace and stability. He made the appeal during a public lecture on democracy and good governance held at the Government House.
The outgoing administration believes it has fulfilled the mandate handed to it when President Bola Tinubu suspended democratic institutions in Rivers State. Political tensions have eased up, opponents have ceased hostilities, and efforts are ongoing to rebuild alliances.
Emergency rule was never a choice. It was a necessity forced upon us by insecurity, political impasse, and a breakdown of trust. Yet, in hindsight, it offered us enduring lessons. That peace is priceless. Without security, no other aspiration.
But as the handover date draws closer, this public lecture emphasized the need to safeguard the fragile peace and prevent political interest from eroding the gains of the past 6 months.
This will bring progress and growth on our state. Let's work together to achieve peace in Rivers State. This is a clarion call for all the states in Nigeria to maintain unity in their democratic governance and institutions. The Rivers State experience should serve as a good example for all the states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The keynote address also highlighted stronger security, electoral reforms, and political tolerance as key ingredients for turning around the fortunes of Rivers State. The administrator acknowledged the people's support as crucial to the success of the emergency rule.
Standing before you, I am filled with gratitude and humility. Gratitude for the trust and support you gave me as your administrator, and humility that I was called to serve at such a time, such a defining moment in the history of this great state.
The governor of Fubara administration has about 2 years left in his first tenure, but with all hands on deck, stakeholders believe there is still time to deliver meaningful progress once democratic governance is restored. Harmony Agbafo, reporting for BeeTv News.
And now to the business news. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has directed all domestic systematically important banks to secure regulatory approval for the appointment of successful managing directors at least 6 months before the exit of current chief executives. Let's join BeeTv News SRA Osemige for details and more from Business World.
According to a circular issued by the Director of Financial Policy and Regulation, Dr. Rita Saik, banks must also make such appointment public no later than 3 months before the incumbent officially vacates office. The CBN explained that the directive aims to strengthen corporate governance, ensure smooth leadership transition, reduce uncertainty, and preserve public confidence in the financial system. Leadership gaps in large banks, the regulator noted, could destabilize the sector and negatively impact the wider economy. Succession planning has now been formally added to the list of critical governance requirements for Nigeria's major financial institutions. The airline operators of Nigeria have welcomed the federal government's suspension of the proposed 4% free on-board levy on imports. This suspension, announced by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, followed widespread concerns that the levy would worsen inflation, hinder trade facilitation, and weaken Nigerians' business climate. The AON described the suspension as a move that will protect the aviation sector, safeguard jobs, and ease inflationary pressures. The group also reaffirmed its readiness to collaborate with the government in effort to strengthen the aviation industry and contribute to national economic development. The Dangote Group has announced plans to make Nigeria the world's largest exporter of urea fertilizer by 2026. Speaking at the refinery complex in Lagos, the company disclosed that its fertilizer expansion is positioned to boost Nigerians' foreign exchange earnings and improve food security across Africa, where demand for fertilizer continues to outstrip supply. As part of the initiative, Dangote plans to deploy 4,000 trucks, creating an estimated 24,000 direct and indirect jobs. Truck drivers under the scheme are expected to earn salaries 3 to 4 times higher than the national minimum wage. The group also revealed plans to introduce electric vehicles for product transportation beginning in January 2026, aligning operations with global sustainability and energy transition effort. I am Sohe Osemeki, reporting for BeeTv News.
Hunger and disease are ravaging Afghanistan children on a scale never seen before. The evidence is everywhere. This is Badashkan Regional Hospital. All around us, families who have spent whatever little they have to bring their babies here. The report.
Musla is 5 months old, suffering from measles and malnutrition. Her mother Karima told us she'd hardly opened her eyes in the past few days.
She's in pain and I don't know what to do. We are poor and don't have access to nutritious food. Some days we go hungry. That's why she is in this state.
A day after we visited the hospital, Musla died. Zamira has already lost one baby. Her second child, Sana, has malnutrition, acute diarrhea, and a cleft lip. At 3 months old, Sana is the youngest baby there.
I'm afraid that this child might also die. I'm so tired of this life. It's not worth living.
As Zamira spoke, Sana's hand and feet turned blue. Her tiny heart wasn't pumping enough blood. A nurse put her on oxygen. A week later, Sana also died sharing one bed were twins, Mazan and Mutra. They had measles and malnutrition and were half the weight they should have been at 18 months. In the hours that followed our visit, Muthara became critical, and 2 days later she died. This isn't the first time we have documented child deaths from malnutrition, but what we've seen this time is without precedent. 3 children from one hospital room, Mutera, Musla, Sana, the latest casualties of Afghanistan crisis of hunger. Their deaths are registered, but outside the walls engulfing the country's youngest is silent, unrecorded. Caught in a storm of 8 courts, severe drought, and a government whose intransigence on women's rights affects how much the world is willing to help. In the western province of Haran, Gula Muhyiddin and his wife Nazu takes us to the graves of the 3 babies they lost in the past 2 years. The youngest just 3 months ago. They break walnut shells for a living and have had no support from anyone. Not their government, not NGOs.
Can you imagine how painful it's been for me to lose 3 children? 1 minute there's a baby in your arms, the next minute they are empty. I would hope every day that angels would somehow put my babies back in our home.
Watching helplessly as my children cried out of hunger, it felt like my body was erupting in flames. It felt like someone was cutting me into half with a saw from my head to my feet.
So I've literally gone all around this graveyard and I've counted the graves myself because there's no one here who's keeping any records, and it's really a staggering sight. 2 out of every 3 graves are of children. And we've been speaking to locals here. They've been telling us that this graveyard is only about 2 to 3 years old. This is not a specific graveyard for children. They've told us that the main cause of death, they believe, is hunger and malnutrition.
1-year-old Rafula cannot hold himself up. His mother, Hanifa, has no money to make the journey to a clinic to treat his malnutrition. She says she feeds him bread soaked in water. A man offered Hanifa a large sum of money as dowry for 7-year-old Satara, but she turned him down. There are many days when this family doesn't eat to sedate a hungry Rafula so that he sleeps. Hanifa told us she gives him these medicines. So these are the tablets that she says she gives her youngest child 3 times a day, the 1-year-old child.
So these are the tablets that she says she gives her youngest child 3 times a day, the 1-year-old child. They're both anti-anxiety medicines, but they're available at the cost of 1 strip would be the same cost as 1 piece of bread.
I feel suffocated and like I should kill my children and myself. I feel so guilty that my children are going hungry and I can't do much.
This is one of millions of pleas for help in Afghanistan, most of them unseen, unheard. Harmony Agbafo reporting for BeeTv News.
Now to entertainment news. Afrobeat superstar David Adeleke, professionally known as Davido, has outlined why he chooses not to block critics and trolls on social media despite frequent negative remarks. Also, Grammy-winning producer Omen Brown dies at 49. Let's join BeeTv News' Gossip Omone for details and more from Entertainment World.
The singer explained that his decision is international, allowing detractors to continue observing his career milestones and personal achievements instead of being excluded. He maintained that blocking them would only prevent them from witnessing his progress. Davido also noted that although he keeps his platforms open, he He reserves the right to respond when criticisms cross acceptable boundaries. His stance reflects the broader challenge faced by public figures in balancing visibility, criticism, and personal boundaries in the digital space. In another development, Nigerian content creator and TikTok personality Pella has rewarded a market worker with 500,000 naira after testing his willingness to assist with a simple errand. The incident took place in Lagos when the worker, who recognized Pella on his way home, was asked to purchase food and drinks. Despite the rainfall, the worker carried out the request and returned with the items. Impressed by the man's efforts, Pella increased his intended reward of 200,000 naira to 500,000 naira, which he presented immediately. The act reflects the entertainer's commitment to recognizing and rewarding small acts of kindness amongst everyday Nigerians. Grammy Award-winning music producer Sydney Omen Brown has passed away at the age of 49. His body was discovered in his Harlem, New York apartment on September 13, 2025, after colleagues raised concerns about his absence from work. The New York City Medical Examiner is scheduled to conduct an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death, which has not yet been confirmed. Throughout his career, Brown collaborated with several international acclaimed artists and was celebrated for his significant contributions to the global music industry. He earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in Sociology and Music from Amherst College in 2013 and later completed a master's degree in Theological Studies at Boston University in 2016. He was the son of Martha Brown. And that is it from the entertainment world. Cosgift Omone reporting for BeeTv News.
Moving on to sport news and to the exciting world of sports, where we begin with the Champions League. Kylian Mbappe scored 2 penalties as 10-man Real Madrid battled to victory over Marseille in the Champions League opener. Also, Mikel Arteta says the finishers in his Arsenal squad could be more important than those in the starting lineup this season, a concept he says he has taken from Rugby Union. Let's join our sports correspondent Freeman Osawe for details.
Los Blancos were handed an early blow when Trent Alexander-Arnold pulled up with what appeared to be a hamstring injury after only 3 minutes, and they suffered another setback when the England fullback's replacement Danny Cavaja was sent off with 18 minutes left after he faced off with Geronimo Rulli and moved his head towards the Marseille goalkeeper. But the 15-time European champions emerged victorious thanks to Mbappe, who twice stepped up to slam Sports Kiss past Rulli, taking his club tally in 6-5 games this season. Timothy Weah had opened the scoring for Marseille in the 22nd minute, beating Tribot Cotters with a powerful strike after former Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood stole possession from Adagula in the middle of the pitch. In other results, Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard both scored and assisted one another after coming off the bench to guide the Gunners to a 2-0 win at Spanish side Athletic Club in their opening Champions League game. Martinelli has had a tough time in recent months, struggling for form and being dropped to the bench with new arrival Eberechi Eze preferred on the left wing. Belgium forward Trossard, meanwhile, has been limited to just 3 substitute appearances so far in 2025 and 2026 after playing 56 times last season. Arsenal without key players Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz through injury, with William Saliba only fit enough for the bench. Meanwhile, Englishman Lloyd Kelly meted an equalizer in the 6 minutes of added time to salvage a draw for Juventus after a thrilling 8-goal second half at home to Dortmund. Centre-back Kelly, who joined from Newcastle in the summer, had given away a penalty to allow Dortmund to make it 4-2, but he followed up Dusan Vlahovic 94th minute goal by heading home a cross from the Serbia striker 2 minutes later. It provided a fitting final to what was a remarkable second half, with all 8 goals in the game coming after the 51st minute and Juventus recovering from going behind on 3 occasions. It is just the second Champions League game where 8 goals have been scored in one half after the second half of Bayern Munich's 9-2 win against Dinamo Zagreb last season. Barcelona trashed Valencia with Marcus Rashford involved in a La Liga goal for the first time. And out of the Spanish La Liga games, where Fermin Lopez, Rapina and Robert Lewandowski scored 2 goals after the Spanish champions. Halftime substitute Rapinha's first goal to make it 2-0 came from a brilliant left-wing cross from England's forward Rashford. The Manchester United loanee, making his second start for Barca, played 67 minutes and had 2 efforts of target in the lively outing. Lopez had run into Ferran Torres, ball to net their opener and smashed in a fantastic strike from outside the box to make it 3-0. Rapinha then rifled in their fourth. Lewandowski, also a substitute, finished off Dani Olmo's pass and then dinked in assist, a goal given by the video assistant referee after initially being ruled out offside. Defending champions, Italy battled into the Billie Jean King Cup semi-finals with a pair of comeback singles against China. And finally in tennis, Italy battled into the Jean King Cup. Elisabetta Cosciaretto threw herself to the floor in relief after producing an extraordinary comeback to beat Yu Yuan 4-6, 7-5, 7-5 in the first singles match in Shenzhen, China. Cosciaretto was a set and 5-2 down, found herself 24-0 in the decider before somehow rallying to victory. Yuan twice served for the match, but Cosciaretto broke her on both occasions and won the final 5 games of the deciding set to give Italy the lead. And that's it on Sport News. Thanks for watching. Freeman Usawi reporting for BeeTv News.
And that's it in our bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for more major updates at 6. To have a nice day. I am Lee Whitman Joanna.
I don't want to. I'm going to do very, very cool.